Welcome back. Today we're going to consider the role of prayer, especially as we want to endeavor to do something new for the Lord. One of the things I often tell our congregations is that if we don't start on our knees, God is going to bring us to our knees. So we might as well start with prayer. And I got to be honest, and this is time honest confessions of a preacher. I had a congregation I was working with in Ohio, and they really wanted to start their campaign with prayer. And I was kind of new at this and just figuring it out. I was like, okay, whatever. As a pastor, it's probably not a good move to, like oppose prayer. So I just let them go. And I wasn't expecting anything of it. But what I learned through their prayer vigil, which ended up being one of the first prayer vigils that we did at Genysys, is that those people gathering together for 24 hours. This church had maybe 80 people in worship on a weekend. Not a big church. They took 24 hours and dedicated it to prayer. They had 2, 3, 4, 5 people gathered throughout the day. Some came, some went. And pastor stayed there for a bunch of time. He wasn't there the whole time. But when those people got together for prayer and dedicated an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours to prayer, there's a pressure in that because when you're sitting there with 3 or 4 or 5 of your church buddies and friends and you got to pray, you got to find something to pray about. And it opened them up. It opened them up to each other. It opened them up to where God was leading them as a congregation. And there was a tremendous blessing that they got in that time in prayer that now has become a regular part of their life together. In this church now, they regularly have sunrise to sundown or 3-hour prayer vigils throughout the year to pray for our country, to pray for their community, to pray for their church, just to gather together in prayer. And so we love to gather and begin our endeavors as we are working with churches in particular in prayer because it is so much value. And when we as God's people pray, we assume a listening posture with God. We don't pray because He needs our prayers. We pray because we need our prayers. And as we walk through this part of our journey together, I am going to teach you how to pray according to the biblical lament. Lamentations sounds sad, sounds depressing, but there actually was an ancient form to the lament. And we see the 4 C's of an ancient lament. First is that we cry out to God. Second, we complain to God. We tell Him exactly how we feel. We don't pull any punches back from God. We let Him have it when He disappoints us, when life isn't fair, when things are tough, when we can't understand what in the world is going on. We give it all to God in prayer. And once we have cleared the air with God, once we've complained, laid our hearts bare to God, then we're going to call God to action. And the last part of the biblical lament, that we as God's people are going to make a confident statement of faith based on God's promises, based on His character, based on His love and faithfulness for His people, that regardless of what happens, we are going to cling to Him in faith. We are going to persevere. We are going to persist. We are going to go forward in faith because He is God, and we as His people know that even when we don't understand what He is up to in our lives, that He has a plan, and He is going to show us that plan as we continue and sometimes even stubbornly follow Him in faith. And so I hope that you're going to stick around and learn about our prayers as we lay out all 4 parts of that biblical lament and grow in prayer together.